Hi everyone, hope you are having a great day. We're just coming into Montagu now. It's just off the R62. It's quite a small town. There is not a big population in Montagu. But as we drive through here, I thought I'd just share what it looks like in Montagu. So there is a few hot springs in Montagu that's quite popular, like the Avalon Springs, and they have the Montagu Spring. But you can see over here some wine farms. There's a few places that you can eat out. There is, I think this is the only school here in Montagu. And then as you drive through the town, it is on a Sunday, so it is relatively quiet. But usually there are a few other cars on the road. And then this is like the big spa in Montagu with the garage. But there's essentially just this one main road that goes through the entire town. And you can go through Montagu within like 2-3 minutes. It's not a very, very big town. And as I say, there isn't a big population here. I think most of the people that live in Montagu are locals that's coming here to retire. There's a few young people, but as I say, there's only one school, so there isn't a big population growth in Montagu. So as we're driving through now, we're already more than halfway through the town. You can see on the right there's some B&Bs and sort of accommodations. There's some accommodations here. So this is a very touristy destination, like for hot springs or guest houses. And if you want to come out, like especially if you're traveling down the sort of northern side of Western Cape, you sort of go through these towns like Robertson, Montagu. Then you can stop here overnight. There are many guest houses and sort of walk around. There are a few restaurants here, but not a lot. And then Montagu also have some nice shops, wine tasting. You can see here there is the wine tasting restaurants, motorbike displays. So on the way in, they also had some busy sort of street market, but I don't think that is happening now. So it is very quiet on a Sunday. But other than that, you can see now we're coming out of Montagu, so it's really less than a few minutes. You can drive to the entire town, and then it's essentially just a very, very small population. And then you can see the sign here where it says the next town is Ashton, then Robertson, then Worcester, which is on the R60. And then this is really interesting. So this is sort of a path along the mountain ranges, and there's quite a lot of zigzag curves, so you can't really drive that fast. So you can see it's surrounded by a lot of mountain ranges, and the roads are very sort of narrow. There's only one way going there and one way coming this way. But let's take a look through this road. So as we were driving, they also had some signs for wild animals. So like there would be baboons, random birds within the valley, and this is quite secluded. So other than the cars that's coming in and out, there isn't any residence or accommodation here. So it is sort of secluded into the wild, like wildlife. So that's why you have these animals that's quite active, like monkeys and things like that in the mountains. So you can see it's quite a sharp bend, and then the scenery here is very nice. You can see nice mountains, and it's a good weather. There's some resting area here. If you get tired, you can obviously drive by, stop and take a break. And then as you sort of go along here, there's signs that show you to please slow down, and we're going to come across a very, very nice cave. So I'm just going to try to slow down and go through it. I'm not sure what this cave is called, but you can see it's massive, and I think people actually made a hole through it to build this bridge. So that was quite on the way there we saw that cave, and that was pretty astonishing. hiking path along the side here where these cars stop to hike, and then obviously there is no street light here, so if you're driving sort of around this, especially during the night, it's quite dangerous. So slow down, headlights, all that, keep safe distance, but other than that, it's quite a zigzag path for like 5 kilometers or so, so that's quite nice. And as you can see, the road is quite well maintained, so there is literally no potholes, no loose stones on the road. They do keep it quite clean, and obviously the oncoming traffic is one lane and going that side is a different lane. And then they do also have these structures on the side to actually stop mudslide and rocks coming onto the road. So they built this whole wall to prevent objects falling into the road and such. So that was quite good. And then this Hugo's Bridge, which is not very big, you can see here. And then on my right hand side, it's essentially massive places of just farming grapes. There's different vegetations that they grow, and then you can see over here as well. And then so R60 if you want to go to Swellendam, but we're going essentially straight across. So we're actually going into a small town called Ashton now, and they have a quite a nice bridge. So this bridge is constructed, I think it took them a few months to get it up and running. There is traffic cops along the road, so I'm just going to slow down a bit, but yeah, there's quite a lot of activities going to Ashton. It's a bit bigger than Montagu, so there is more sort of foot traffic and vehicles coming in and out. And because it's a Sunday, I think there is also a market that's happening, so people do come stop for some breakfast, some rest. There's a garage here on the left, and you can see we're coming up to the bridge now. There's a nice train here that's a model, and then I think they put it there just for display purposes. It's like a platform market, and then this is the bridge I'm talking about. So it's quite it's obviously very small compared to first world countries, but I mean here in South Africa it's quite an astonishing structure. You can see that there are wires all around the side, and the actual cement all the way around the entire bridge. So this is like one of the bridge on the main road as you go through Ashton. Yeah, so we're more than halfway through the town now. Although it's a biggish town, but you can still drive through the main road within about 5 minutes, if not less. And there are some shops along the road, and you can see there are some people coming out and about, but relatively speaking, it is still a small town with a very small amount of inhabitants, not as big as a big city. And in South Africa, there's actually only a few main cities like Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban. Other than those big 3 cities with lots of populations, all scattered across the Western Cape, and the rest of South Africa is just essentially small towns like this with not a lot of population. And then as we're driving, you can see there's only about 1 or 2 schools across the whole of Ashton. So if there are sort of people in adjacent towns from Ashton that does not have 2 schools, they have to essentially drive their kids all the way into Ashton, and obviously for them to go to school here, then fetch them and then drop them off. And yeah, it's quite a hassle. But I guess if you are someone who enjoys the country life, you don't want to be in the big city, then yeah, this is by all means the place to be. You can see some of the houses here are very peaceful. There isn't a lot of people out and about to bother you. You're very far from your neighbors. You have big land, and yeah, other than a few big farms here in Ashton, there isn't really much happening. And then they don't have a lot of touristy attractions other than some hiking trails, wine tasting, and farms that you can sort of walk about. But other than that, that is basically the entire Ashton. Then if you look through front, that's essentially we're coming out of Ashton now, and there's some cows on the left hand side, so that seems like cow or dairy farm, and then there's a Ashton winery here, and then other than that